Hi, I'm Don, and this is my second attempt at making a video for Eyeball Aeronautics. What this video is going to show is a power supply for your hot wire cutting tools. The plan is maybe to separate it into two videos because I'm kind of long-winded and it won't fit quite in a 15-minute window. So some of you probably know how to do most of this stuff. Maybe you might want to fast forward through some of it. Otherwise, there's a couple of little segments that hopefully will be helpful for someone who is just starting out and maybe wants a little more in depth on the how-to part. So here's my video, and hopefully it's helpful.
Okay, so if you go on the internet, you can find 25 different ideas out there about the way to power your hot wire cutter. One of the things on the internet that you can find is using a dimmer switch like this one and a 110 to 12 volt transformer, and you wire the dimmer switch to the transformer, and that allows you to vary your power. Those work fine. The only issue I have with them is most of the transformers out there are right around 3 amps, and that works well for a hot wire bow. But when you start using some of the other tools that I want to show you, they require more amperage. 3 amps won't do it, and so that's why I've gone through this route, and as I've gotten a little more advanced with my cutting techniques, I find that it doesn't give me a wide enough range. I'm going to show you a couple of other routes that I have found that work really well and are not too expensive. So with that being said, let me bring up this little gizmo right here. This is a 6 amp battery charger, and on top of it I have clipped a router power supply, and I was going to take it off, but then I remember that I stuck it on there with some mounting tape, so rather than take it off, I'll just leave it on there and let you see what it is. As you can see, there's a knob here that will control the current that comes out of it. It's basically a big dimmer switch, but it's rated a little more amperage than what your normal dimmer switch is that they sell for a light. It's fused, has an on-off switch, and also a bypass, so that will give you 100% of the current, or that one there allows you to control the current. And all you have to do then is just plug your battery charger right into it. That varies the output. Now on this one, the wires were all ratty and whatnot, so I cut them off, threw them away, and I put a banana plug on there. And I can just plug my hot wire bow into this, and I am good to go as far as being able to control the heat so that you don't overcut or have it too low where it doesn't cut at all. The only drawback to this is that this is a 6 amp battery charger, and unfortunately something like this, which uses a stiff piano wire, which works really nice for cutting profiles, it will draw about 8 amps. So with that's not enough for this guy to run that particular tool. Again, it works great for bows and some of my smaller wires, but it doesn't work. I found that it's just not quite enough amperage. So we have this one, and this is perfect. This is a just a old automotive battery charger. I bought it on Craigslist. I paid $10 for it. It will go up to 10 amps, and it's perfect. And you know, I haven't gotten around to putting the banana clips in there because I also use it on my car and whatnot. And but if you have one of these and the router speed control to plug it into, you've got the most simplest, easiest way that I know of to power pretty much any tool that you may need. Now, if you go this route, let me just say one thing. You can't use the newer battery chargers. They're called smart chargers, automatic chargers, because they have a circuitry that will sense the hot wire as a short circuit, and they will shut off. You have to use the older style that are not called smart charger or automatic charger. And so you know, my recommendation is to buy one, if you don't already have one, off the internet, off Craigslist, off something like that. Buy it used, get it cheap, and that's by far the simplest way, and it works really good. I've been doing this for years, and that's mainly the way I did it for most of my time. But as we have gone on, I found another way that I like a little bit better than that way, and that is to use one of these guys. This is a computer power supply. Now, it's a little more involved than just plugging it into a router speed controller, but it's not really all that complicated. What you need to do this project is the power supply, and like I say, you can find them in surplus stores for $5. You know, you can get them sometimes for free on Craigslist. People have old computer towers or whatever. You can get them for next to nothing. And I've actually got 3 of them around here. I'm probably going to put I'll probably put a few together and actually have the power supplies for sale. And so, if you know, well, that's in the future. I'll have to figure out how long it takes me and whatnot. But that is the plan. I think I'm going to offer a couple of them up for sale. But my recommendation is make your own. They're not that hard to find, and you can get them cheap. So what you need is a power supply, and then this is a Turnigy servo tester. It is you can get them online, and it doesn't have to be Turnigy. There's other brands out there, but basically it's a servo tester. And with that, I also use one of these. This is a brushed motor speed controller, and that is what is going to, these two linked together are what's going to give me the ability to control my current. So those are the two components, and then I have a handful of plugs here. I use banana plugs, and I'm going to continue to do that because all the tools that I have right now are basically a banana plug to the power supply and a T60 plug from the power supply. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm going to continue that just so that it's pretty standard to all my tools. There's one more option here. This is low voltage cable. I use that to run to the cutter from the power supply. And this is an automotive amp gauge. Finally, the last thing I have here, I'm going to use this as the case for the power supply. And what it is an organizer drawer. that I took all the guts out of. I actually had a couple of them that had missing drawers, and this one had some missing drawers, so I pulled all the drawers. You know, they were one of those deals, you know, where you keep your nuts, bolts, and screws. And so since the other one was missing a few drawers, I just gutted this one, took the drawers out, and I'm going to use the box to house my power supply. So I'm going to get started and show you exactly how to do this. Oh, and one more thing. If you don't want to go the route of the power supply, you have one more option, and that is to power it with a LiPo battery. With that said, if you want to omit the power supply, you can use this same setup, a brushed speed controller, and a LiPo battery, and a servo tester, and that's all you really need to power your hot wire cutter. Now this one, if you are going to use the LiPo battery setup, this is a must. This is a cell meter. It basically tells you how much power is still in your LiPo battery, and it'll keep you from over discharging it. Basically, if you can see, it just shows you how much each cell has in it, and also what your total voltage left in the battery. And when it gets down to minimum safe voltage, the light lights up, and it tells you you know, you have to stop using this battery. Because as I'm sure most of you know, if you discharge a LiPo battery too far, it's basically ruined. So that is all the components we're going to need, and now I'm going to show you quickly how to wire it up. Because
so that shows the two options that I like to use for power supplies. In the next video, I'll show you how I actually wired it up.